فوربك لنسألنهم that will redefine education to the Muslim Ummah and the world at large. The dream is not new, as highlighted by my friend. Our civilization has been built upon such dreams. We have the vision, we understood that education is something which shapes mind, shapes sound, shapes the society. And it starts back from Ashab al-Sufa, the first learning center at Medina, where Sahabas gathered together and learned the divine knowledge from the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Thousands of years ago, Al-Qarabiyyin in Morocco was established by a woman, Fatima al-Behri, and became one of the earliest universities in the world. Al-Azhar in Cairo has stood for over a millennium as a beacon of knowledge. The Baitul Hikmah in Baghdad once attached scholars of every faith and discipline. But where are such institutions today in the modern Muslim world? Why is that the Ummah of Iqra is often on the margins of global knowledge leadership? This question is not meant to discourage us. In this landscape, education is no longer about information, it is about formation. Forming the minds, the values, and the leadership that can navigate and shape the future of the new generation. Yes, in many Muslim societies, our educational institutions fall into two extremes. The secularized models that imitate the Western curriculum but disconnect students from their faith, value, and identity. Traditional religious schools that preserve sacred knowledge but often fail to equip students with modern tools and skills. What is the outcome? What is the result? We produce graduates who are either competent but value neutral or value anchored but professionally unprepared. What we need are leaders who are both rooted in faith and relevant to the world. So there is a strategic opportunity available to this Ummah moment. There is where your vision comes in. We are not merely filling the gap, we are responding to a historic opportunity to build a new educational model for the 21st century. A university that integrates, an educational institute that integrates the revelation with reasons, knowledge with ethics, and education with transformation. What should be the vision of such an education system that needs to be addressed as well? And we should articulate clearly what we want to build. The vision must be bold and actionable. establish a world-class Islamic institution that integrates modern sciences and technology with the Quranic values, producing leaders, innovators, and change makers who serve humanity guided by the divine purpose. The professionalism is not compromised, and the divine knowledge is so integrated into their personality that that reflects what education actually is meant for. This vision translates into 5 key characteristics: integration of knowledge, courses in science, engineering, law, business, humanities, infused with Islamic ethics and the worldview. Yesterday we got a chance to discuss the same issue of integration of the 2 education systems, fusing them together. Yes, we want to bring in the change. We see the deteriorating situation of our society, of our youth at the moment. And we are all worried about it. And we are striving to come up with solutions. But we are unable to address the education system in a manner where our graduates basically are equipped with both the professional and the contemporary knowledge and the divine knowledge together. And that is what is required. My lawyers, my doctors, my engineers, my professionals, my managers, my chartered accountants, you name it, any field, they should be equipped with the basic divine knowledge. That is the objective. So when they go and they operate and they serve the society, they align their professionalism with the Sharia principles. That is the basic objective. Students understand AI and fit, economics and maqasid al-Sharia, public policy and prophetic leadership, not as separate worlds, but as an interconnected reality. We call that Islam is a complete way of life. Then we don't see that happening in our surroundings. We see that there is a disconnect between the two. And usually, the society has formed an idea that Deen is something, this divine knowledge, this prophetic knowledge, is something which is meant for the Madrasah and the masjids only. And that has nothing to do with other walk of life. And this is because there has been a disconnect, as I earlier said. So this is the challenge what we need to do. A strong emphasis on research addressing real societal changes, poverty, environment, governance, finance, healthcare, all through the lens of Islamic values. Just for the sake of example, Islamic finance has been shaping itself for the last 1 decade very aggressively. Earlier, we could not imagine that Sharia had anything to do with finance. Sharia had to do anything with economics. Similarly, Sharia has anything to do with medicine. Sharia has anything to do with architecture and engineering. We never thought about it. Sharia had to do anything with fashion and designing. We never thought about it. But yes, there is a feeling, thought, which is prevailing now. And the people are starting to understand that yes, there is a connection. And there has to be a connection. The deteriorating society, the ethics, the morals, and the disorders that we're facing in our society, especially with the youth, the Gen Z, they're totally confused at the moment. So what I and what we all see, and those who are basically victimized, they are more sensitive towards it. And they are understanding that there is something wrong. There is a disconnect. And that is the reason where we should revert and reconnect ourselves. So this is what I say is an opportunity for all of us. That if we are able to come up with a new educational system, a system which integrates, and which opens doors to all walks of life. Not necessarily that every child becomes an alim, every child becomes a mufti. Yes, and it is also not possible that every doctor and every engineer and every professional is an alim side by side. No, it cannot happen that way. There are specializations, but there are some fundamentals, there are some basics that all humans and Muslims must know about it. And we as Muslims must have that knowledge, basic knowledge, to guide us in all walks of life. Like every engineer cannot be a doctor, every chartered accountant cannot be an architect. So every alim cannot be a doctor, and every doctor cannot be an alim. It has to be a specialized, more focused, professional, academic knowledge. So the basic level is mandatory at all levels. But at a higher level, there is a specialization. And the child is open to opt whatever he feels comfortable with, where he is inclined, where he wants to go and serve the society. If he is interested in becoming a doctor, if he is becoming interested in becoming an engineer, or if he is becoming a alim, it is his choice, and he has the liberty. But the basic and the fundamental knowledge is available right there. So I think so when we talk about reshaping the academy altogether, building up a new educational society, we need to take into consideration the global hub. The partnership with leading universities, exchange programs, international faculty. This is how we're going to move forward. We need to learn from the experiences what others have done already. And that is where we're going to strategize. And that is where we're going to contribute for the well-being of this ummah. Again, sustainability and impact. A governance and financial model that ensures independent growth and a long-term viability. Remember that you need to build a model which is self-sustainable. Initially, you need to inject resources, but after a certain time, it has to come up to a level where it is self-sustainable. It cannot be dependent on donations and charities and others. It has to be self-dependent so that the continuity is not compromised at any moment. The strategic pillars, what we see is how do we move from vision to reality? This is the vision, this is the need which we have addressed, which we have identified. But how to execute building a curriculum, committee, blending scholars of Sharia, experts of modern discipline, and curriculum designers. In my country, what we feel there is a lot of Islamic schools operating, serving the society. But majority of them are unable to deliver. And I think this is happening across the globe. The basic element of Tarbiyah, I was just discussing with Sheikh, and he told me how they have integrated the Tarbiyah model curriculum. And from Jamia Rashid, where I'm coming, from Deen, they have a wonderful Tarbiyah model. What they have done is basically they have designated a dedicated faculty with different classes of students. And they are associated so closely that within 24 hours that faculty remains with the student as their roommates, as their classmates, as their teacher, as their mentor. So they come to know exactly what is happening with the student. And they develop a relationship, connection with the student. And then the Tarbiyah model starts basically. If there is a limited time connection, that would not basically engage the student with the mentor, with the faculty, with the teacher. I think so that must be the prime component of our curriculum, that the students are guided in such a way that they are forced by their inner self to perform and to refrain from sins and avoid the wrongs basically. That mufti or that alim within the person, within the soul, that should be basically activated in this mentorship, in this tarbiyah. That student, that individual, when that he grows up, he has that sense of accountability that yes, my creator is always looking at me, looking at my deeds, my performance, my activities, and one day or the other, I'm accountable to him. So that is one of the major things which I think that has to be. We have to work a lot on the curriculum as well. We should not be only focused on the Ilm chapters, ignoring the, but they are naturally challenges, the time constraint. In a limited time of period, I do not expect that all the students can go through the entire 2, 3 disciplines together. That is not possible. So again, if we combine and create a curriculum committee that looks into what is necessary and how that can be diluted, what is the weightage of that particular course or discipline or subject, and how that is integrated in that weekly and monthly and yearly program together. And what is the direction, what is the objective of that curriculum? If my student is taking a particular curriculum, what is the objective of that curriculum? Do I want him to become an alim? Do I want him to become an engineer? Do I want him to become a lawyer? What is my objective? So that would have to be a backward integration, a reverse engineering. The objective is kept before, and then we do the working on a backward mode and integrate those courses necessary to develop and attain that objective. So these are the few words which I would basically want to have an idea, and we can have more discussions on that, and we can have exchange programs, we can exchange our experiences. Few things that I have mentioned about the sustainability, the curriculum, tarbiyah, these are the fundamental things that needs to be integrated so very well in the system that every student who comes to the system and graduates out basically reflects all those personality, the traits in his personality. That is the objective of redefining this whole system. May Allah make it easy for all of us and becomes a source of revival for the Ummah. And somehow we are able to basically address this problem and overcome this dilemma And once again, we start with a great leadership again. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. इस्लामिक यूनिवर्सिटी बनाने का जो आपका ख्याल है बहुत अच्छा ख्याल है। ज़रूरत क्यों है जो मैंने छोटी सी अपनी एक स्पीच यहाँ पर पेश की, तो उसमें बुनियादी ज़रूरत इस चीज़ की है कि हम ज़हनों की तश्कील करें, अपने मोरल्स, अपने वैल्यूज़, अपने ब्रेन्स, इसको किस तरह हम फॉर्म करें, ये इम्पोर्टेंट है। So there are two requests coming in. So either there is a subtitle going in front of me. The people who are asking me to comment in Urdu, the people who are asking me to comment in English. So let me recite a verse. Yareman pakto namidanam chekunam ubugo yaddal tarasha mannadanam chekunam. My friend is from Peshawar, but I don't know Pashto. He says, Dal tarasha, come here, and I don't know what to do. So, so let me know what is comfortable. I'll try to combine both the languages together. So what the summary is that before we start forming a university, there are a lot of preambles that needs to be addressed. University is not just a name of the building, the infrastructure, the programs. No. आपने एक इमारत बना दी और आपने कहा कि यूनिवर्सिटी बन गई, और जो भी उसके कानूनी तकाज़े हैं, whatever the regulatory requirements are required, you comply that, and ultimately you get a university charter. यूनिवर्सिटी बन गई। अब ये तो बहुत आसान है, थोड़े से पैसे ज़्यादा हो, नेक्स्ट 1 year में यूनिवर्सिटी बन जाए। लेकिन इसका ऑब्जेक्टिव क्या है, हदफ क्या है? What are we aiming towards? We need to shape the new generation. We need to guide them. उनकी रहनुमाई करें. And the reason is this: ultimately this the outcome, the product of that university is going to serve the society. वही तो बच्चा मदरसे से, यूनिवर्सिटी से पढ़कर इसी माशरे में आएगा ना काम करने. So how will that happen? So that needs a special skill set कि उस बच्चे के अंदर ऐसी सलाहियत, that skill set should be instilled in that student that he is basically becomes an enabler for the society. ठीक है? और जादू की छड़ी नहीं, it will not happen overnight. Bear this in mind. If anyone is in this misunderstanding, have clear understandings. What will happen that we think that this is going to have a result within few years? No, it's not going to happen. But it has to be a progressive outcome. That there should be outcomes after 1 year, after 3 years, after 5 years. So that basically keeps you motivated. वो आपको चलाता रहेगा कि हाँ 1 साल में अच्छा ये नतीजा तो आ गया, पहला मरहला, दूसरे मरहले में 2 साल के बाद अच्छा ये नतीजा आ गया. So you see that roadmap is progressing. The outcomes, we are achieving those outcomes over a period of time. And even if you end up making a university, say after 10 years, it is not the final destination. It's a live institution that needs to be, it has to basically, एक जिंदा इदारा है, It's a living institution. So when we say it's a living institution, so it has to address the situation which is constantly changing. As AI or artificial intelligence and technological developments and geopolitical changes happening. So the university should be strong enough to address this situation and adapt and integrate the programs in such a manner that what is required for the society, it serves that purpose. कि हालात तब्दील हो गए तो अब यूनिवर्सिटी तो वो कदीम ज़माने की चल रही है. थोड़ी सी जसारत करूँगा, मदारिस का करिकुलम 200 साल पहले बना था, 200-250 साल पहले बड़े सगीर में, when the British basically invaded and they took over the charge, starting with Deen and then different institutions happening. They devised a curriculum which was at the bare minimum level. बस इतना था कि दीन बाकी रह जाए, दीन बताने वाले कुछ लोग बाकी रहे. And after 200 years, we're still following that same curriculum. That needs to be revised. And curriculum, again, it's a living document. वो तो हालात के हिसाब से अपने आप को कस्टमाइज करता रहे. आज आपने एक निसाब बनाया, हालात को देखकर 2-3 साल के बाद आपने देखा इसमें तब्दीली आ गई, निसाब को दोबारा से जाकर रिविजिट करेंगे. तो the curriculum is a live document, needs a revisit on periodic basis, whether it is 2 years, 1 year, 3 years, depending on the situation, how the changes are taking place. If the changes are rapid, the revisit has to be more frequent. If the changes are slow and gradual, you need to revisit maybe after 2 years or 3 years, something like that. But it has to happen that way. तो जो सेगमेंट सोसाइटी के हैं, जो इस यूनिवर्सिटी में बच्चे आएंगे, पोटेंशियल कहाँ से? एक नई जनरेशन पैदा करूंगा मैं कि वो ही आएंगे खाली? It is not like that. It is the entire current society जहाँ से मुझे बच्चे मिलेंगे, स्टूडेंट्स आएंगे. लेकिन अवेयरनेस नहीं है. Make them aware. They're not convinced. Try to convince them. Again, 100% result नहीं आएगा. This is the reality. Optimize कर दें result. ज़्यादा से बेहतर नतीजा है. And again, this is the reality. Don't ignore that. Don't think that once you come up with a model, everyone is going to accept and say, "Wow, subhanallah, zabardast." ऐसा नहीं होगा. वो resistance आएगी. ये क्या करने जा रहे हो भाई? 10 पहले लोगों ने कोशिश की. People before you have strived and they were unsuccessful. Don't start a new invention. Discouragement, disappointments will happen. Again, go back to the seerah. How the Prophet managed the situations. Taif. That is a lesson for us. Okay, situation when you are basically reviving a new system, there is a lot of discouragement and disappointment. How you need to be steadfast, how you need to encounter and stay firm. This is going to happen. And it is a gradual phase. Evolution, irtiqa jo hai na, evolution is something natural. It takes place over a period of time. Sheikh Sadi says that human life, it takes 40 years to maturity. 40 साल में जाके दिमाग पुख्ता होता है. And for a chicken, it takes 6 weeks. 6 हफ्तों में चूजा जो है मुर्गी बन जाती है. What happens next? Life कितनी है? 3 महीने. For a human, आजकल लाइफ स्पैन है, it ranges from 60 plus to 70 and 80. So evolution basically is endurable, durable. वो उसमें दवाम, उसमें बका होती है. और अगर आप ऊपर से आ जाएं without going through that process, हमारे फैमिली बिजनेसेस में हम देखते हैं कि वालिद ने, the father, the grandfather, he really made an effort to build up this organization, build up this company, this factory, this industry. बच्चे जवान हुए, पढ़ा कर आए बाहर से, सीधा उसको आपने कहा कि तुम चेयरमैन की सीट पे बैठ जाओ, तुम एमडी की सीट पे बैठ जाओ. Those working for years with the institution, क्या हो गया भाई? तो collapse होता है, बाज़ दफ़ा कंपनी collapse हो जाती है. तो उस मिलिंग प्रोसेस से जब चीज निकल कर आती है तो इट इज ड्यूरेबल. जो लोहे को भट्टी में डाला जाता है, when you basically treat the iron in the furnace, उसकी ट्रीटमेंट होती है और फिर आप उसको शेप करते हैं, उसकी ड्यूरेबिलिटी बढ़ जाती है, हार्ड हो जाता है, पुख्ता हो जाता है. The system what you're going to devise needs to go through the same process. It has to go through the same process. Again, the different components, मदरसे जो बच्चे हिफ्स कर रहे हैं, उनके यहाँ क्या जाके मुझे चेंजेस करना है. Remember that every institution, आप 10 इंस्टीट्यूशन के लोग बैठे हैं, एपेटाइट कितनी है पॉपुलेशन के साथ? 1000, 2000, 5000, 10,000 बच्चा पढ़ा लेंगे, 20,000 बच्चा पढ़ा लेंगे. कैपेसिटी नहीं है. मुझे सिस्टम बनाना है. I need to develop a system and that is open to all. सिस्टम को वो फॉलो करे, वो 10,000 बच्चा वो पढ़ा ले. पॉपुलेशन तो बहुत बड़ी है. तो अगर मैं सिस्टम जनरेट करके डेवलप कर लूं, वो सस्टेन कर जाएगा. इंडिविजुअल नहीं सस्टेन करेगा. एक इंडिविजुअल, वन मैन शो, एक फैमिली, एक इदारा नहीं. इट हैज टू बी अ सिस्टम. तो उस सिस्टम पे काम कर. And again, you people collectively can do a lot of things. कि भाई मुमकिन है कि आप में से 2-4 आदमी वो कहेंगे अब मैं तहफीज पे काम करूँ. I'll start working on the तहफीज मदरसा. मेरे 2 दोस्त हैं, उनका तहफीज का मदरसा है, मेरा भी 3 मदरसा है तहफीज का. I'll start working on that area, revising the curriculum, integrating some contemporary education together during that HIFZ process. So once the student completes the memorization, अब वो जब स्कूलिंग में आ रहा है तो वो कैसे एक्सपोज होगा, उसकी जो डेफिशिएंसी है वो उन 3 years में किसी तरह एड्रेस हो चुकी है. एक वो स्टूडेंट है जिनके मदरसे में the curriculum was not revised, reforms were not integrated. वो भी पोटेंशियल क्लाइंट है आपका. उसके लिए एक सेपरेट प्रोग्राम होना चाहिए, कोई रैपिड कैचअप स्कीम होना चाहिए कि 2 साल में उसकी जो स्कूल मिस किया उसने, या 3 साल में जो स्कूल मिस किया उसने, रैपिडली उसको हम एक्सटेंसिव आवर्स के साथ तैयारी कराएं. अगेन unfortunately I think I don't exactly have an idea what is happening here, but education is an art, it's a skill. मैं आज एक इंस्टीट्यूशन को भी पढ़ा रहा हूँ, मैं कहूँगा बस मैं पढ़ा रहा हूँ, ऐसा होगा नहीं, आएगी नहीं चीज. तो इफेक्टिव एजुकेशन के लिए आप ट्रेनिंग सेंटर्स बने हुए हो. दूसरा कंपोनेंट इफेक्टिव एजुकेशन के लिए
करिकुलम बहुत अच्छी तरह से डिजाइन हो। अगर करिकुलम अच्छी तरह से डिजाइन नहीं है तो वो उस नीड को एड्रेस नहीं करेगा। देयर विल बी अ गैप। बच्चा वो निसाब पढ़ेगा, वो करिकुलम पढ़ेगा, and he might not be able to produce what is expected. मुझे बता रहे थे वर्किंग आवर्स मदरसे, मुझे थोड़ी सी I'm little bit candid, मैं openly express कर रहा हूँ चीज़। तो I was a little bit worried कि ये बच्चा 5 days या 6 days a week for the next 10 years इस extensive hours में काम करेगा, आउटपुट मुतासर होगा। This is natural. This is natural. ये मदरसे से आ रहे थे, तरबिया का मॉडल उनका मैंने देखा तो जबरदस्त मॉडल था। तो मैंने अपने उस्ताद को तो मशवरा नहीं दिया, जसारत नहीं की। तो मैंने पूछा कि ये तरबियत का मॉडल कैसे होता है? तो उन्होंने कहा कि एक उस्ताद जो है वो एक फरीक के साथ, one of the faculty members is designated to a class, a particular class, और उसके साथ वो एसोसिएट इस तरह होता है that he stays with them for 24 hours in the class, in the hostel, in the masjid, in the playground, everywhere he is with the students. So that creates a bondage, a relationship. Class में वो he's a teacher, playground में he's playing together, masjid में he's leading the prayers, dawn में, hostel में, रात में गपशप भी लगा रहा है। So there's a connection which is being built. मैंने कहा ये उस्ताद है या रोबोट है? छुट्टी कितने दिन मिलती है इसको? हफ्ते में 1 दिन। अच्छा, इज ही मैरिड? अजीब। घर का है? करीब में, आधे घंटे 1 घंटे के पास। हफ्ते में 1 दिन जाते हैं। उन्होंने शादी क्यों की थी? मैंने कहा कि भाई you are mentoring students, children of other families. What about your family? तुम्हारा बच्चा कहाँ जाएगा? बाप तो हफ्ते में 1 दिन आता है। So there needs to be a system. Maybe there may be 2 or 3 people in a group dedicated to a class. So by turn they're taking off। 1 दिन के बाद एक दूसरा ऑफ करता है, 1 दूसरे दिन के बाद दूसरा ऑफ करता है, तीसरे दिन के बाद तीसरा ऑफ करता है। So there is close interaction that is happening. तो ये चीज जब बच्चे की इन्होंने एक्सटेंडेड आवर्स बताए तो I was a little bit worried। इंशाल्लाह बेहतर होगा और अल्लाह ताला अच्छी सूरत निकालेगा। लेकिन मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि 2 साल के प्रोग्राम में तो एक्सटेंसिव आवर्स में आप उसको मिल कर दें, ठीक है। लेकिन इफ यू थिंकिंग ऑफ नेक्स्ट 10 years, ओह दैट इज स्कैरी। बच्चा अभी तो जज्बे में फैमिली, घर, सब कोई जबरदस्त काम हो रहा है, लेकिन कुछ अरसे बाद बच्चे के अंदर कुछ न कुछ प्रॉब्लम आना शुरू होती है, उसकी फिजिकल नीड होती है। तो ये जो वेकेशन दिया जाता है ना, ये वेकेशन ऐसे नहीं दिया जा रहा होता। लोग हमारे मदरसे में भी वेकेशन दिया जाता है, लेकिन मैंने अक्सर मदरस में ये सुना कि छुट्टियां क्यों होती, व्हाई डू दे हैव सो लॉन्ग वेकेशंस। मैं ये कहता हूँ कि देयर इज समथिंग बिहाइंड दिस वेकेशन, और इस वेकेशन को किस तरह कंस्ट्रक्टिव किया जाए ये हम नहीं करते। हम तो रूटीन में चल रहे हैं। इट्स अ रूटीन वेकेशन, 2 महीने की छुट्टियां हैं, बस इसमें तो छुट्टी नहीं होगी, कोई छुट्टी नहीं। तो जो मॉडल्स हैं मुख्तलिफ हिल्स के, पाकिस्तान में किस तरह हिल्स कराया जा रहा है, इंडिया में, श्रीलंका में, सऊदीया में, कैसे यूज हो रहा है और आउटकम्स को कंपेयर करें तो मे बी वी कैन ब्रिंग अप अ हाइब्रिड मॉडल। उस तरह हम एक मिक्स बना के कुछ चीजें आ सकते। इसी तरह जो इस्लामिक स्कूल का मैंने आउटकम क्या है इस्लामिक स्कूल का, उसको कुरान पढ़ना सिखा दूं मैं, उसको चंद हदीसें याद करा दूं, व्हाट इज माय ऑब्जेक्टिव? I think the main component is make him a man of value, instill that character which is defined by Islam. This is the objective. और फिर उसको हम एजुकेट कर रहे हैं, making him ready for the next year, for the upcoming years. एलिमेंट्री में है तो सेकेंडरी एंड मिडिल में जा रहा है, स्कूलिंग से क्लियर हो रहा है तो हाई स्कूल में जा रहा है। लेकिन इस पूरी जर्नी के अंदर द तरबिया मॉडल इज देयर। तरबिया का जो मैंने बताया ना कि आई वाज वेरी एक्साइटेड टू सी दैट मॉडल व्हाट इज बीइंग प्रैक्टिस एट माय जामिअतुर रशीद फीम, जबरदस्त मॉडल। एंड दिस इज हाउ वी लर्न। जब मैं मदरसे में पढ़ रहा था और मुफ्ती शहीदुल्लाह साहब से, वी हैड अ स्पेशल बॉन्डेज which is missing together. मैं आज मदरसे में पढ़ाता हूँ, मेरे सामने 200 बच्चा बैठा हुआ, I hardly know their names, I hardly recognize them. कनेक्शन ही नहीं हो पा रही, 2-4 बच्चों से होगी 10 साल। वो जो बॉन्डेज है ना, वो मेंटोरशिप, वो रिलेशनशिप, मुझे कोई तकलीफ है, if I have any problem, I am free to go and consult my teachers without any hesitation. उस्ताद के पास गया, उस्ताद जी प्रॉब्लम हो गई, क्या करना है? एंड द कॉन्फिडेंस इज उस्ताद जो बताएंगे सही बताएंगे, ऐसा गड़बड़ नहीं होगी। तो ये रिलेशनशिप इज मिसिंग टोटली इन आवर मदारिस टुडे, स्कूल्स में तो है ही। तो इस चीज के ऊपर मैं समझता हूँ कि आपको अलग से एक टीम बनानी पड़ेगी जो तरबिया की ट्रेनिंग है। आप फरमा रहे थे कि बाकायदा इसकी वर्कशॉप्स होगी, वेरी गुड, और इसको स्ट्रक्चर्ड करें। डोंट मेक दिस अ पार्ट ऑफ इस्लामियात। तरबियत इज नॉट अ पार्ट ऑफ इस्लामियात। तरबियत itself is a particular standalone subject that needs to be very nicely devised. और करिकुलम जो तहफीज में बच्चा 2 घंटे के लिए मॉडल पढ़ता है ना कि स्कूल, उसका मॉडल कैसा हो। फिर तहफीज से पहले का प्रीएम्बल भी देख लें। यूजुअली व्हाट वी डू इन पाकिस्तान, वी से कि 8-9 साल का बच्चा इज आइडियल फॉर स्टार्टिंग हिफ्ज। उससे छोटा बच्चा जो है थोड़ा सा प्रॉब्लमैटिक होगा, हैंडल करना मुश्किल होगा। कारी साहब ने जरा जोर से आंख दिखा दिया, पर्सनालिटी शैटर हो जाएगी। तो वो सेंसिटिविटी को हैंडल करने के लिए फीमेल टीचर्स थोड़ी सी टेंडर होता है उनके अंदर, मोर कंपैशनेट, तो वो हैंडल करें उसको 7-8 साल तक। तो उसकी प्री स्कूलिंग जो है, प्री स्कूल, ग्रेड 1, ग्रेड 2, ये बच्चे, इसको डिवाइस कौन करेगा, इसको कौन हैंडल करेगा? एक टीम ऐसी हो जो इस एरिया को एड्रेस कर रहा हो। वो बच्चा जब हिफ्ज में आएगा तो हिफ्ज का करिकुलम कोई हैंडल करेगा, हिफ्ज के बाद स्कूलिंग करेगा दोबारा। हम वहां पर, अच्छा लेट मी एक्सप्लेन माय मॉडल व्हाट वी आर डूइंग देयर इन पाकिस्तान। प्री स्कूल जैसे मैंने बता दिया, वी आर नॉट एट द मोमेंट वेरी मच लुकिंग इनटू रिफॉर्मिंग द प्री स्कूल। जो हमारा एग्जिस्टिंग सिस्टम है, वी आर लिविंग विद दैट एट द मोमेंट। तहफीज में लास्ट ईयर वी हैड अ लॉट ऑफ डिस्कशंस। तकरीबन हमारे पास देयर इज अ ओवरवेलमिंग रिस्पांस। 2000 एडमिशन आते हैं, देना कितना है? 100 बच्चा, कैपेसिटी नहीं। अब एक डेवलप हो रही है, उसमें बढ़ जाएगी कैपेसिटी। ओवरवेलमिंग रिस्पांस है, ये बच्चा मेरे पास आ रहा है 8 साल का, 3 साल में 3.5 साल में हिफ्स करेगा. He'll complete his memorization in the next 3.5 years. If he is inducted at the age of 8, 11.5 years, his is completed. Lekin he left school, the regular school at grade 2, and after 3.5 years, he was supposed to be in grade 5. Right? So this gap needs to be addressed. That gap needs to be addressed, and that is splitted in 2 categories. One, we do a reform integrated during the HIFS period. The second thing, once he is out of HIFS, 1 साल उसको reconsolidate करें. And then he moves into the regular stream. Age group, again, that matters a lot. 15 साल का बच्चा HIFS करके आएगा, you cannot put him in that stream. Again, learning, जो groups होते हैं बच्चों के, that is very important. So you need to address that. कि एक ग्रुप में फॉर्म कर रहा हूँ तो 11 और 12 साल का बच्चा या 12.5 साल का बच्चा should be grouped together. 14 साल 15 साल के बच्चे कोई 11 साल के बच्चे के साथ ग्रुप करेंगे, सोशल प्रॉब्लम्स आना शुरू होंगे थोड़ा सा. तो ये सारी चीज, अगेन, चाइल्ड साइकोलॉजी पढ़े हुए कुछ लोग, एजुकेशन में कुछ पढ़े हुए लोग, दे नीड टू बी अ पार्ट ऑफ दिस कमिटी जो इस नफ्सियात को समझते हैं. बच्चों की लर्निंग आउटकम्स कैसे होती हैं, लर्निंग हैबिट्स कैसे होती हैं, ये सारी चीज़ें उसने देखना होगा. तो डिफरेंट एवेन्यूज, डिफरेंट सेगमेंट्स को एड्रेस करने के लिए डिफरेंट रिसोर्स को मोबिलाइज करना होगा आपने. और जिस तरह वो इंटरनेशनल इस्लामिक स्कूल कॉन्फ्रेंस हो रहा है, होल्ड सच कॉन्फ्रेंसेस, सिंपोजियम इन अ ईयर विद इन बांग्लादेश. कलेक्टिवली आप अपनी एक्सपीरियंसेस शेयर करें ना, हमने ये किया है, हिफ्स में ये किया है, हमने हिफ्स के बाद ये किया है. ठीक है, हम क्या करते हैं कि जब वो हिफ्स करने के बाद उसको हम एक प्रोसेस में डालते हैं स्कूलिंग के लिए, और स्कूल का जो गैप है वो पूरा कराते हैं. अच्छा, it is not new, but we have engineered the whole program, Huffaz program, Al-Beruni Huffaz education system. We admit students who have completed their hifz aging from 11 to 12 years of age. And then we put them in a schooling system. We have addressed the curriculum, the English and the math subject that has been devised. We have written the whole book, and keeping in mind that this child has completed his 2nd grade, came to his, and there is a deficiency. So when we are teaching him math, that has to go right from grade 2 onwards to grade 5. That has to be completed in a year. The second thing is language, English. There is a lot of deficiency. Again, he left school at grade 2. So next 3-4 years, he needs to cope up. So that curriculum, that book has been designed in a manner that it encompasses, it has that all elements which has been taught in the last 3 or 4 years. इस तरह हमने एक बुक डिवाइस की अभी पहले फेज में. इस साल हम 9 बुक्स डेवलप कर रहे हैं फॉर तहफीज. For each year, there's a book for English, there's a book for math, and there's a book for Islamiyat or Urdu. Now, how we are compiling and devising and designing that book? For English, it has English components necessarily, but bringing the information and knowledge from social sciences and from that general knowledge, and that from social studies, and that from pure sciences. So we are integrating these subjects together under one topic, that is English. Maths remains the same. Urdu and Islamiyat are again integrated together. So 3 subjects designed in a manner that we'll spare 3 blocks in a day during their hifz. So first year, second year and third year. That is how we're planning to design it. Engaged educationists who are well versed with curriculum designing. Put a second layer of review. The reviewer should be more expert than those who are creating this book. Inshallah, hopefully this year we'll be having this 9 books, and that would be introduced to the hifz section. And alhamdulillah, there are around more than 100 hifz madrasa. They're affiliated to us. So we're going to introduce the same curriculum to those madrasas as well. एक तो ये हमने काम किया. जो बच्चा हिफ्ज करके हमारे पास पहले साल में आता है, इंग्लिश और मैथ हमने बता दिया. He is basically mastering Arabic this year. और अरबिक में उसकी जो स्किल सेट है वो अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह ऐसी जबरदस्त उसको पॉलिश किया जाता है. He does not know Arabic at all. बिल्कुल रॉ होता है, लेकिन 1 साल उसको एक्सटेंसिव अरबिक लर्निंग में लगाते हैं और साथ में वो इंग्लिश और मैथ के कॉम्पोनेंट्स लाते हैं. It's a boarding school at our place, but I am personally not very interested and inclined towards boarding school. Handling children today in boardings, it's an uphill task. It's a nightmare for me. It is just next to impossible. जैसे हो रहा है, again, I live within the system. System क्या कह रहा है? बोर्डिंग करना है. कलेक्टिवली हमने डिसाइड की बोर्डिंग करना है और मैं अगेंस्ट हूँ बोर्डिंग. मैंने कहा ठीक है, अब कंट्रोल्स डेवलप करो. प्रॉब्लम्स आ रही, बच्चा जो है वो डिस्टर्ब हो रहा है. 11 साल का बच्चा बोर्डिंग में डाल दिया आपने, अवे फ्रॉम द फैमिली. 2 भाई जो उससे छोटे हैं वो तो घर जाते हैं, अम्मी उनकी ख्याल करती हैं, द मदर टेक्स केयर, अच्छे खाने मिलते हैं, अम्मी के साथ सो जाते हैं, फैमिली इज देयर. दिस चाइल्ड हिफ्ज कर लिया, मुसीबत बन गई, ही इज इन ट्रबल. ओहो, फैमिली छोड़ना पड़ा. क्यों किया मैंने हिफ्ज? तो ये प्रॉब्लम आना शुरू होता है. अच्छा, इस साल हम 20 स्टूडेंट्स लेते थे अब तक. इस साल हमने एक कैंपेन चलाई, हमने ओपन कर दिया एंड वी टुक अराउंड 170 स्टूडेंट्स एडमिशन है. द रिस्पांस वाज अगेन ओवरवेलमिंग. 400, 450, 500 बच्चे ने अप्लाई किया एंड वी लिमिटेड टू 170, 175. जब ये प्रॉब्लम आना शुरू हुआ तो मैंने कहा इसको कंट्रोल कैसे करेंगे? भाग जाएंगे सारे के सारे, क्योंकि बच्चा सस्टेन नहीं करेगा, प्रॉब्लम में आ जाएगा. So I started a parenting series of workshops. तो अभी पहला वर्कशॉप हमने पिछले हफ्ते किया था एंड आई सेड कि हर महीने या 6 वीक्स में एक पेरेंटिंग वर्कशॉप होगी एंड वील डिस्कस ऑल दीज चैलेंजेस. बच्चे को ये प्रॉब्लम आ रही तो करेंगे. एंड इट रियली हैपेंड. उस वर्कशॉप में 2-3 पेरेंट्स मेरे पास आए. अभी बीच में हमने ब्रेक लिया, कहने लगे बच्चा जो है ना, ही इज perfectly all right. लेकिन the moment he returns home, कहता I don't want to go back. कभी कहते सर में दर्द है, I'm having a headache, my stomach is not good, I'm not feeling well at all. हम कहते हैं यार ये क्या चक्कर हो गया, this is another problem. तो कहते हैं क्या करें, हम बच्चे को निकाल दें. मैं कहती कोशिश करते हैं ना इसको कैसे एड्रेस करें. मैंने कहा कि एक तो बच्चे को इनकरेजमेंट बहुत चाहिए. यू डूइंग अ मार्वलस जॉब, या तुम वो काम कर रहे हो जिससे मेरी आखिरत बन जाएगी। बाप और माँ उसको ये कह रहे हैं, ही फील्स प्राउड अबाउट, ओ चलो ये सैक्रिफाइस जो दे रहा हूँ ये ऐसे नहीं दे रहा हूँ, इट्स बीन वेरी वेल रिकग्नाइज विद इन द फैमिली। दूसरा मैंने कहा कि शुरू में 1 ग्राम का एंटीबायोटिक ना दें, उसको थोड़ा स्प्लिट कर दें, तो 250 मिलीग्राम का डोज दें। तो उसको कहें कि हफ्ते में 2 दिन यू कैन कम बैक होम। मंडे को तुमने ज्वाइन किया, ट्यूसडे की शाम को हम तुम्हें ले लेंगे, गो बैक वेडनेसडे मॉर्निंग, थर्सडे को फिर तुम आ जाना। तो 1 महीना 2 महीना इस तरह चलाएं, डाइल्यूट हो जाएगा, एक कस्टम होगा, सेटल कर जाएगा, आराम से एडजस्ट कर जाएगा। फिर आप कहेंगे अच्छा अब हफ्ते में 1-2 दिन, 3 दिन की बजाय 2 दिन आओ, एंड फाइनली आफ्टर अ मंथ और सो जब वो बिल्कुल सेटल कर जाएगा, कहेंगे ठीक है भैया वीकली आ जाएगा। तो वी नीड टू एड्रेस, और इसमें एक्सपर्ट्स चाहिए। जबरदस्ती करेंगे बच्चे को, या तो वालदैन दे बी स्ट्रिक्ट एनफ, नहीं जाना ही जाना है, जाना ही है जबरदस्ती, अगेन पर्सनालिटी डिसऑर्डर्स शुरू हो जाएंगे। तो ये चीजें हमने कोशिश की कि वहां एड्रेस करना शुरू। अच्छा 1 साल में अरबिक फ्लुएंट, व्हाट हैपेंस नेक्स्ट ईयर ही इज रेडी टू गो फॉर ग्रेड 8, और ग्रेड 8 में हम ग्रेड 8 नहीं पढ़ाते हैं, हमने ग्रेड 9 को रिवर्स इंजीनियरिंग फिर की, ओ लेवल्स की प्रिपरेशन हो रही। बच्चा अभी हाफिज है, उसकी गिरदान और एक्स्ट्रा करिकुलर एंड को करिकुलर एक्टिविटीज बड़े स्ट्रक्चर्ड है। स्पोर्ट्स इंस्ट्रक्शन ये है, प्रिंसिपल साहब को भी, स्पोर्ट्स टीचर को भी, कि कोई भी स्पोर्ट्स विदाउट चैंपियनशिप नहीं होगी। स्विमिंग कराना है, मेक श्योर कि वो कराची चैंपियनशिप या सिंध चैंपियनशिप खेलेगा बच्चा, तो वो स्ट्रक्चर्ड हो जाएगा, फोकस होगा उसकी ट्रेनिंग। वो मार्शल आर्ट सीख रहा है, चैंपियनशिप कौन सी खेलेगा ये बताओ। वो फुटबॉल खेल रहा है, चैंपियनशिप कौन सी खेलेगा। और उसके लिए उसका माइलस्टोन जो स्पोर्ट्स टीचर है ना, कि मेरा बच्चा उसमें जाएगा और कॉम्पीट करेगा, और मुझे नजर आना चाहिए कि उसने एफर्ट किया है। अगर नहीं नजर आए ना तो यूर आउट, आई विल गेट समवन एल्स। तो ये माइलस्टोन्स आपने सेट करने। जो अंग्रेजी पढ़ा रहा है वो इंग्लिश कॉम्पिटिशन्स में जाएगा, डिबेट कॉम्पिटिशन्स में, डिस्क्लेमेशंस में, डिक्लेमेशन में सॉरी, और मुख्तलिफ स्पेलिंग भी कॉन्टेस्ट होता है, इस तरह मैथ ओलंपियड होता है। तो ये सारी चीजें स्ट्रक्चर्ड जब होती हैं और फोकस्ड होती हैं, साइंस एग्जीबिशन कर रहे हैं तो इट हैज टू गो कंपटीशन, प्रोजेक्ट्स बना रहा है वो कंपटीशन में लेकर जाएगा साइंस के। तो ग्रेड 8 पूरा पढ़ेगा, रिवर्स इंजीनियरिंग ओ लेवल्स। 9th में लिमिटेड, they have to appear in 8 courses minimum in O levels. 9th में we aim Islamiyat, Pakistan studies, engineering O levels. 9th में limited, they have to appear in 8 courses minimum in O levels. 9th में we aim Islamiyat, Pakistan studies, Urdu. Again, Urdu has 2 options, एक normal Urdu है and एक advanced Urdu. मैं कहता नहीं मेरा बच्चा advanced Urdu करेगा, linguistics में महारत हासिल हो उसको, becomes an expert। और 10th में जब वो आएगा तो मैथ, इंग्लिश, मैंने थोड़ा सा इसको डाइल्यूट किया है, मैंने फिजिक्स रखा है, केमिस्ट्री एंड बायोलॉजी हटा दी मैंने, और मैंने कंप्यूटर्स रखा है। उसके पास अगर वो डिसकंटिन्यू करता है मदरसा तो उसके पास ऑप्शन है कि वो एडिशनल एक सब्जेक्ट और देकर वो साइंसेज ऑप्ट कर। और अरबिक मैंने डाल दिया, दिस इज द थर्ड लैंग्वेज कमिंग इन। अरबिक, उर्दू एडवांस है, इंग्लिश वो सीख रहा है, मैथ, फिजिक्स, आईसीएस जो कंप्यूटर्स है, इन पाकिस्तान स्टडीज एंड इस्लामिया, आर्ट कंपोनेंट्स उसके बन जाते हैं। एडिशनली कोई बच्चा कहता है कि नहीं मुझे केमिस्ट्री पढ़नी है, इज ओपन ज्वाइन। और ए लेवल्स, अच्छा ये जब 10th में आता है ना तो हमने पहला साल तो अरबी पढ़ाया उसको, ही इज परफेक्टली मास्टरिंग अरबिक। द नेक्स्ट 3 years फर्स्ट ईयर ऑफ मदरसा पढ़ता है वो। इन 3 सालों में मदरसे का पहला साल पढ़ता है, सफे अव्वल। फोकस स्कूलिंग पर है, ओ लेवल्स कंप्लीट कर ले, मास्टरी कर ले लैंग्वेजेस पे, और 1 साल अरबिक। इसको भी मैं ओवरवेलमिंग समझता हूँ बच्चे के पास। जब ओ लेवल से पूरा होता है तो अब इनका स्केड्यूल बदल जाता है। नाउ दे आर मोर दोज हु आर ऑप्टिंग टू गो फॉर मदरसा, तो अब वो सुबह के वक्त में पूरा मदरसा पढ़ेगा जोहर तक, जोहर के बाद थोड़ा सा रिलैक्स करके आराम करके अब वो ए लेवल एएस और AS1 करेगा, राइट। और वहाँ 3 सब्जेक्ट्स करते हैं। उसमें मैंने उनसे कहा कि मैथ ले ले, अरबिक चूंकि माहर है तो अरबिक एडवांस होगी इसकी ए लेवल्स की, और थर्ड इज कि वो कंप्यूटर्स ले ले या कोई और कंपोनेंट, बिजनेस स्टडीज ले ले इस तरह, या इकोनॉमिक्स ले ले, which is less burdening, much easier. तो by the time वो A levels complete करता है तो AS में उसका सफ़सानी होता है, दूसरा साल मदरसे का, और AS1 में जो फाइनल है A levels का, तो इसमें वो सफ़सालिस कर लेता है, ठीक है। Now he has an option, नहीं पढ़ना मदरसा। क्या हुआ 3 साल मदरसे का पढ़ के वो सारी चीजें इंस्टिल हो गई हैं, तरबिया मॉडल विद द नॉलेज। कुरान भी पढ़ा है, हदीस भी पढ़ा है, सीरत भी पढ़ ली, थोड़ी सी फिक़ह भी पढ़ ली। अब वो जाता है इंजीनियरिंग करने, जाओ कंप्यूटर्स पढ़ने, CS करेगा, जाओ मेडिसिन पढ़ना है, एडिशनल बायोलॉजी दे दो, जाओ मेडिसिन ओपन है। एंड दोज हु वांट टू कंटिन्यू विद मदरसा, अब वो रेगुलर मदरसा तो पढ़ रहे हैं, फर्स्ट सेकंड थर्ड ईयर हो चुका है, मदरसा कंटिन्यू होता है। अल-गज़ाली नाउ कम्स इन एक्शन। हमने ये कहा है कि बच्चे को अंडर ग्रेड प्रोग्राम ऑफर करें। एक अंडर ग्रेड प्रोग्राम है कि मैं उसको BS इस्लामिक स्टडीज कराना, मदरसा भी तो इस्लामिक स्टडीज ही कर रहा है। What is the difference? Just for the sake of that degree? So, Dr. Afzal was visiting here. He's looking after the Islamic Studies department. मैंने कहा, Dr. Afzal, I need my student to be equipped to address the Western world. वहाँ क्या challenges हैं तबलीग के, वहां जब वो डिलीवरी करने जाएगा तो किस तरह का ऑडियंस होगा जिसको वो एड्रेस कर रहा हो। तो वी बेसिकली called upon Dr. Zakir Naik, we called upon Dr. Phillips, Bilal Phillips, and we said के maybe कुछ गेस्ट सेशंस आप हमारे बच्चों को अंडर ग्रेड लेवल पे करा रहे हो। This is how we basically exposing our student to be prepared for the society challenges. और grade 3 हो चुका था, next 4 years for undergrad program। अब इस्लामिक स्टडीज ऑप्ट करता है, एक ऑप्शन, फाइनेंस ऑप्ट करता है, 2 ऑप्शन, लॉ ऑफर कर रहे हैं, जा रहे हैं। हमारा प्रोसीजर तकरीबन कंप्लीट हो गया है, एंड वी गेट द NSC The batch is ready. That will be inducted. My child will be doing a law program, LLB कर रहा होगा. And this is a by major. By major कैसा है? Finance कर रहा है तो it is finance and Sharia. It's a by major. तो वो आलिम बनता है and he is well versed with finance. The reason is I see a lot of potential. ये बच्चा जैसे graduate होके दौरे हदीस से फारिग होगा, Islamic banking and Islamic finance is awaiting for him. जब commercial transactions होती है तो disputes होते हैं, litigation होगा. LLB in Sharia is the avenue for him. अभी बहुत लोग capacity चाहिए हमें, under capacity पे काम कर रहे हैं. तो ये दो प्रोग्राम हमारे जबरदस्त जिसमें बहुत बच्चों की तरफ से वेरी मच इंटरेस्टेड. इस्लामिक स्टडीज में वैल्यू एडिशन मैंने बता दी कि किस तरह. नेक्स्ट 4 years अंडरग्रेड प्रोग्राम कर रहा है, सफ़े राबे, खामिस, सादिस, साबिर. 4 साल अंडरग्रेड प्रोग्राम आफ्टरनून में कंप्लीट करता है. मदरसे के 7वें साल में फाइनल सेकेंड लास्ट ईयर में आ चुका हूँ. दौरा में नो कंटेम्प्रेरी एजुकेशन, पूरा फोकस दौरा हदीस में. By the time he graduates as a Dawra Hadith student, he has completed his undergrad program. और जिन्होंने A levels के बाद कहा कि नहीं मुझे कंप्यूटर साइंस पढ़ना है, अल-गज़ाली opens the door, आ जाओ कंप्यूटर साइंस पढ़ो. मुझे सिर्फ फाइनेंस पढ़ना, मुझे शरीयत नहीं पढ़नी, आ जाओ. मुझे एजुकेशन में काम करना है, BS एजुकेशन करना है या B.Ed करना है. तो we are opening different disciplines, different departments. इस वक्त इस्लामिक स्टडीज है, फाइनेंस है, लॉ है, एजुकेशन है और कंप्यूटर साइंस एंड BBA. इस BBA को भी हम चाह रहे हैं कि अब थोड़ा सा मजीद वैल्यू एडिशन करें, कोई डेटा एनालिटिक्स वगैरह. तो इस तरह हमने इसकी इंटीग्रेशन की. हिफ्ज से शुरू हुआ था, हिफ्ज में स्कूलिंग का करिकुलम थोड़ा सा डाला. हिफ्ज से फारिग हुआ तो रैपिड कैचअप 1 साल में कराया, अरबिक में मास्टरी कराई, रेडी फॉर O levels. नेक्स्ट 3 years सफ़े अव्वल कंप्लीट हो गया. A levels, सफ़े सानी, सफ़े सालिस एंड A levels कंप्लीट. अंडरग्रेड प्रोग्राम सफ़े साबे मौकूफ अलैह तक, इज रेडी नाउ. 1 more year दौरा हदीस पूरा हो गया. This is how we have basically designed. तो आप लोग अगर इस तरह कुछ करें, जिस बच्चे को हिफ्ज करा रहे हैं उसको स्कूलिंग पहले करा रहे हैं अच्छी तरह से, बर्डन थोड़ा सा कम हो जाएगी. और वो जो मदरसा आप 3 साल मुस्तकिल पढ़ाएंगे उसको थोड़ा सा डाइल्यूट कर दें, 1 साल पढ़ाएंगे 3 सालों में. बच्चा के ऊपर ज्यादा इज नॉट बर्डन्ड टू मच, परफॉर्मेंस उसकी मुतासर नहीं हो. एंड डू फोकस ऑन द एक्स्ट्रा करिकुलर एंड को करिकुलर एक्टिविटीज. दैट इज अ रिवाइटल. वो रिवाइटलाइज करता है बच्चे को. स्विमिंग चैंपियनशिप में जा रहा है, फुटबॉल चैंपियनशिप में जा रहा है, बास्केटबॉल चैंपियनशिप में जा रहा है. दैट इज अ डिफरेंट वर्ल्ड. बच्चे को तो इसी में मजा आएगा. एंड हेल्दी बॉडीज ब्रिंग हेल्दी माइंड्स. जितना स्टडी होगा, तगड़ा होगा, वैसे ही काम करेगा. ठीक है. तो इंशाल्लाह we stay connected, we share our experiences, and Allah Ta'ala make this journey more simple, more easy, achievable, inshallah, and beneficial for the ummah. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.
Shukran jazakumullah sir, for sharing your experience thought and point of view. So now we will go for question and answer session, and after that we will start the debate inshallah. So if you have any questions, please feel free to take the microphones in front of you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. First of all, we want to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us the faith to sit here with all of the leaders of Chittagong, Islamic schools in the Chittagong. And it's a really privilege and honor for us, for the people of Chittagong, for the leaders of these schools of Chittagong, to have our great guest all the way from Pakistan. And I want to thank and be grateful to the authority of Hasanain as well, especially the director and chairman Charan and the principal sir as well, for having this round table discussion. And Alhamdulillah, I'm really very happy and to be part of this journey. And as I have worked a long time in the West, and I have seen this kind of discussion in London, in various cities in the West. And so I think in this half an hour discussion, we've learned so many things, basically. And I think we have to preserve this discussion, and we have to sit again as the leaders and how we can implement these great advice of our guests in our own institutions. And we have challenges in every school, basically, because working with the children is not easy. So just one question for our guest from my side as we are working with the children. So and we have a vision to make our children the alim, the scholar. At the same time, we want to keep the pathway open for them if they want to become doctors, engineers as well. So as in the UK, I've seen there are like three the Islamic school curriculums, basically the Darul Ulum, we say. So Darul Berry and Darul London, this kind of institution they're offering. So they are doing basically before O level. Some schools, some Islamic school, they offer the O levels and Islamic education, the Alimiya course together. And the students they finish the O level and basic Alimiya course, and they have got another 2 years for advanced Alimiya course for Ifta, for Ulumul Hadith, these kind of things. And we have another kind of institution that start the Alimiya course after O level. So that stays about like 5 to 6 years, 6 to 7 years of Alimiya course, and the students joined the Darul Ulum or Islamic school after finishing their O level. So I want to ask our honorable guest, which kind of model is perfect for us in Chittagong, as it is very much similar to the environment in Pakistan, and which pathway is easy for us, how we can prepare our children, our students, to give them the broader pathway. If they want to become alim, they can choose this path as well after O level or A level. If they want to become doctor, engineer, or work in any other field in the Sharia or in the society, the broader society, the Islamic finance as well. So how we can accommodate the students in that way. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum.
So what we experience, the situation which you explained that is happening in UK and other cities, there is no language barrier for those children, right? Whereas we face immense language challenges. So that becomes a little bit challenging for the child. So if we do the Alamiya together with O levels, that becomes challenging. Because Alamiya itself requires a lot of devotion, which is not good. And again, I would request, don't compel each student to become an alim. Not necessarily he has to be an alim. Yes, he has to be a very strong practicing Muslim. So we just instill little bit of alamiya, the 2 years before he completes his A levels. He has an exposure. He has that flavor. If he wants to continue, if he's inclined continuing with the alim course, readily available. And if he says, no, I just, because maybe of the family, his father says that you go and do medicine, You go and do law. What we have come up because of Al-Ghazali, that is now available together with the Alamiya. But if at before that we had an affiliated college and an affiliated college with Karachi University. So we were basically catering students with BS Finance only. That's all. That is all. Or Islamic studies. But that did not have very encouraging results. This integration with Al Ghazali, we are hoping that inshallah the results would be much easy because the premises is the same. So they save a lot of time commuting and they have regular classes. It is not like that once in a month or before the exams they join classes. It's not like it's on a regular basis. Only that has been planned in such a manner that in the morning they do the madrasa, in the afternoon they come and do the university. So this is how it works. So my personal experience is that because of that language barrier, we need to develop that competency. So it is better that we focus because we are not just limiting with English. We are also making him do his Arabic. And that is very necessary. But that is very necessary. The more languages you do, that basically helps you communicate across different regions. So that is one of the objective that we make him do Arabic, we make him do English, and then we focus on O levels with a slight diluted Alamiya course coming in. The first year being disintegrated in 3 years. That's just how it. Yeah. Ji. Ji.
Jazakallah. I will have two questions, but your answer will be very easy, inshallah. First is you said when the students are doing HIPS, so you give them some of the academic studies. So I want to know the ratio, like is it 80, 20, 80%, 20%, or how you actually give them, how much time you give them? Because we are taking standard that in 3.5 years they will finish the HIPS. Okay, so we'll take that as benchmark. Secondly, you have been talking about Tarbiyah model, which I really like and I'm really working on it. So, do we have a model where we can actually give that training to our staff, especially the Hebrew staff? Because in our country, we don't have that mentor or role model thing. They're tired, they have to work from the dawn to dusk. So, your two questions are if you have a model, we would like to have that so that we can actually give that.
So for his, as I explained, that we are basically designing a curriculum and we offer 3 blocks of 40, 45 minutes each day. So that ends up like 120 minutes in a day, and that is in the afternoon. So if the madrasa gets over at 4:30, so the school starts at 3, right? The rest of the time they spend doing hifz. And there is a homework for hifz as well. There is no homework for the school studies. The worksheets, they make them do the exercises within the class. There is no homework for the home. There's no homeworks where the children goes back and do some school homeworks. But yes, for hifz, that once he reaches home, after Asr, he's engaged with some games and sports. But after Maghrib, the parents, either they themselves or they appoint another Qari who comes and make him recite, revise, and memorize the new one. the sabak and the sabqi and the girdan that goes together. So that is a homework which the parents needs to address. Right? The second thing is about training the Quran. What we have done this earlier, about 7-8 years ago, the Qari must be at least a graduate from a school doing his grade 10. That is important. That he must be exposed to the schooling system to an extent. So if you are already running a madrasa and you have a Qari who's not been to school, start substituting one by one. And instead of substituting, now not necessarily he takes the schooling program, you devise little workshops and trainings focusing on child psychology, because hifz itself is so monotonous that qaris usually get frustrated. So you have to basically create an environment which is conducive for the qaris, so they don't feel boredom, they come out of that monotony, and they have different activities in the hifz. That is why I told that we need to go and see the models, what is happening in Saudi, what is happening in other regions. So how they are coming up with different alternates in the hifz program. Yes, it's again a learning process. There will be, you can just visit and see and learn what are the outcomes, and then you can opt and if you can further enhance doing that. Tarbiyah model, what I have understood, we are still struggling with the Tarbiyah model, an effective Tarbiyah model. It comes with association. You need to have, as I told you, Tarbiyah is an independent module. It cannot be a part of Islamiyat, right? So we need to develop mentors within the faculty, and it starts with the faculty. If I want my children to offer prayers punctually, if my faculty is not offering the prayers in time punctually, how can that be possible? The second stage, maybe they are offering punctually, but the outcome of that prayers, जो नमाज से मकसद है ना, that connectivity with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that comes up with soba. And what you said, कि हम मजालिस रखते हैं हफ्ते में, महीने में, 15 दिन में, कुछ ऐसे बुजुर्ग, कुछ ऐसे अल्लाह वाले लोग जो कुछ वो साज और सोज जिसे कहते हैं कुछ लगाएं आग, वो आग जब तक नहीं लगती तब तक वो काम नहीं होता, और ना इंसान वो मैकेनिकल हो जाता है, वजू के नमाज पढ़े चलो, वजू के नमाज पढ़े चलो। लेकिन वो जो स्पिरिट है ना नमाज, ये तरबिया है, ये तरबिया है ना, जो हदीस में आता है कि मल एहसान, हज़रत जिब्रील अलैहिस्सलाम ने आके आप सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम से उस वक्त दरियाफ्त किया ना, साहबा को मना हो गया था कि सवालात नहीं करना, तो कहा कि इस ईमान क्या है, इस्लाम क्या है, तो फिर पूछा एहसान क्या है, मैं कि अल्लाह ताला की इबादत ऐसे करो जैसे as if you basically seeing him, and if you cannot see him, then he is always seeing you. So that condition, that feeling, that is the next level. That is the objective of Tarbiyah. That you instill that conscious in that child in a manner that when he graduates, even if he is going out after O levels or A levels, so that feeling that the tarbiyah is so instilled in his personality that he would basically stay connected. That is the importance. Again, me myself is struggling to understand what tarbiyah is. तो वो जो सोहबत है ना, सोहबत बुजुर्गों की सोहबत, अल्लाह वालों की सोहबत, दिस इज मैंने एक अच्छा ये जो इबादत है ना, दिस इज अ इंस्ट्रूमेंट टुवर्ड्स दैट कनेक्टिविटी, नॉट द ऑब्जेक्टिव. फर्ज है, वी कैन नॉट लीव दैट एट एनी पॉइंट. नमाज पढ़ना फर्ज है, लेकिन नमाज के अंदर वो रूह, वो जान पैदा करना, दैट इज द ऑब्जेक्टिव. तो कोई कहे कि भाई नमाज में रूह पैदा नहीं हो रही तो मैं नमाज ही नहीं पढ़ूं, ऐसा नहीं होगा. हाँ, नहीं चलेगा. किस्ती में से लोगों को कनेक्ट करना शुरू, सिलेक्शन, और नॉट नेसेसरीली कि आपको सारा का सारा तैयार माल मिलेगा. इट्स ऑल नॉट रेडीमेड. कस्टमाइजेशन तो आपने करनी है, तो इन्वायरमेंट आपने क्रिएट करना है. That's the toughest part. But once you attain that, that is the best part of it.
So,
I guess so.
so
It's working.
Assalamu alaikum. This is Dr. Mubarak al Nwaibet. My question is, in our country, some Islamic schools offering Islamic subjects like Quran, Hadith, Islamic studies, Arabic, as well as they offering general subjects like maths, English, science. But these books totally secular, bringing from UK or Singapore or India. Students studying Islamic thoughts in Islamic subjects, but at the same time, they study anti-Islamic thoughts, culture, and etc. Do you think like this combination give us benefits or produce Islamic scholars?
Designing the curriculum, that is not easy. That is not at all easy. If you are designing a curriculum for English, the culture comes in with English. That is, in Arabic, when we learn Arabic in Madrasah, what sort of books and what sort of content do we read and are exposed to the children? Himasa, Diwan Mutanabbi. What is it all about? It's all affairs, love affairs, ishq, mashuqiyat. I was telling one of my friends, to master a language, you need to have two things. आशिक बनना पड़ेगा, दिल से इज़हार करेंगे ना, माशूक. It comes out of the heart, right? और गाली सीखनी पड़ेगी, वो भी दिल से निकलती है ना गाली. तो for language that has to be there. कल्चर आएगा, लेकिन उस कल्चर को डिफ्यूज करना है. लैंग्वेज सीखना है, कल्चर को डिफ्यूज करना है, एंड दैट कम्स फ्रॉम तर्बिया. So don't think that you're going to write a curriculum in English for English. It is just impossible. शेक्सपियर पढ़नी पड़ेगी ना, पढ़ना पड़ेगा, लिटरेचर पढ़ना पड़ेगा ना आपको. तो अगर नहीं पढ़ेंगे तो आप कहेंगे नहीं भाई एहसान की इंग्लिश पढ़ो. तो एहसान तो इंग्लिश जानता नहीं, क्या बोलेगा वो आप पर. So this is I think so, and we experience the same sort of a comment from a parent. Next school 2002 में बनाया सोफा, लेडी बर्ड की सीरीज लगाई बच्चों, जेन एंड मैरी एंड पीटर एट द सी साइड. दूसरे दिन पेरेंट आ गए, बच्चों को इसलिए दाखिल किया था इस्लामिक स्कूल में। मैंने उनसे कहा कि वहाँ एक मदरसा है बिनौरिया न्यूटॉन, तो वहाँ पर दर्स आफ्टर जोहर जो है और बिफोर जोहर भी मस्जिद में भी क्लासेस है। मैंने कहा कि गो एंड लिसन, अगर अदब की क्लास हो रही हो ना वहाँ बैठ जाना चुप से जाके, और जब वो गालियों का अरबी में तर्जुमा उर्दू में कर रहे होंगे ना तो मस्जिद में कर रहे होंगे, और वो इश्क और माशूकी की बातें जब कर रहे होंगे ना, लव स्टोरी सुना रहे होंगे कि अपने उसने किस तरह एक्सप्रेस किया अपना मोहब्बत, तो वो जब उसके अरबी वर्जन सुनने के जब उर्दू तर्जुमा सुनेंगे तो आप कानों से आपके आग निकलना शुरू हो जाएगा। मैंने कहा लैंग्वेज इज ऑल अबाउट दिस, लैंग्वेज इज ऑल अबाउट डिफ्यूज किया करना, कल्चर को डिफ्यूज करना। तो अरबी पढ़ने के बाद, वो इश्क माशूकी की कहानियां सुनने के बाद, द स्टूडेंट डज नॉट स्टार्ट डूइंग ऑल दोज वल्गर थिंग्स, वो डिफ्यूज हो जाता है, वो अरबी सीखता है। So similarly with English, the problem is the tarbiyah element missing. तो वो बेचारा जब उसमें एक्सपोज होता है तो वो कहता है अच्छा ये यही चीज है, वो उसको रिहैब में डालना पड़ता है एकदम। जी
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Honorable Ehsan Waquar, Vice Chancellor of Madani University and Chairman and Principal of Hasanain School and entrepreneur of other Islamic and combined schools authorities. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. It is my understanding, I am Habibullah Bahar, I am directing two schools in Chittagong. One is National Curriculum NCTV, English medium, with such Islamic culture, not Islamic education. Another one is truly Cambridge curriculum, combining with Hifzul Quran, meaning focused Quran and understanding focused Quran, with Alimiya and Cambridge curriculum. It is my understanding that we are having in Bangladesh is a big conflict of making curriculum. It's my appeal to you. We are following the dialectism, our curriculum based on dialectism. That means German philosopher Hegel. His philosophy is the base of our education system, and it is evaluated by Dr. Kudriti Kudal. He is another unbeliever, not believer. That's why we are struggling very much. I think your experience is sharing with us. We are maybe hopeful, shall be hopeful inshallah, and your continuous support we need to make all the school by avoiding the national policy which is dialectism, দ্বন্দ্ব তত্ত্বমতবাদ, এটার উপরে বেস করে আছে। There is no, this is our national policy of education. There is no
what is that policy?
Dialectism, দ্বন্দ্ব তত্ত্ববাদ. It is not believed. The Hegel, German philosopher or educator, I think, he made curriculum contradictory, but he is not. Sometimes he is believer, sometimes he is not non-believer. That means dialectism, দ্বন্দ্ব তত্ত্ববাদ. এটার উপর বেস করে কিন্তু our curriculum is standing, making this curriculum. This is the national policy of Bangladesh. National policy of Bangladesh, as well as I think some most of the country. In this situation, we are struggling very much. We are at least making curriculum, first we need to identify identity of humanity. We are trying to identify the humanity from Charles Darwin, or going to Mendel, biologist, or go to Karl Marx, but we are not going to his or his knowledge, that is Quran. It is our fundamental problem to make our curriculum as Muslim curriculum. So your another point I am very much appreciate you, the Janji. So science psychology is very important for our system. Okay. So thank you very much for your nausea with us, to us, and we hope your continuous support will get, inshallah.
I might not have addressed the objectivity of this education a bit more. We need to produce experts who can go and serve these avenues. जहाँ कानून साजी हो रही है, where they are basically devising the law, the policy. We need to have our representation there. That is the objective. So if we can enable that environment where my graduates can go. So one thing I was talking about different segments of the society. What we have done in Jamiatul Rashid area, we have addressed the graduates, those who have completed their undergrad or master's program, any university, and now they want to do an alim course, but they cannot spare 8 years. So we basically went back and devised a curriculum, condensed that 8 years into 4 years. And we called it Kulliyatul Sharia. So any student who was a graduate or who has done his undergraduate program, even PhDs, they were interested in carrying up with this Alamiya course, a condensed form. So that is also a very prospect clientele available. You need to address that as well. Because they are close to be a part of the policy maker. If you basically brainwash, yeah, so you basically sensitize their brains with that Alamiya condensed course. These people would go to universities as lecturers, as professors, as researchers. These doctors would go to hospitals. These people might go into bureaucracy. These people might join the armed forces. So you basically enabling an environment and bridging that gap from all the aspects. The center making this boundary come close. You address the tafiz, you address the madrasah, you address the other segment, the schools, and you're addressing the graduates of the universities. So my offer here for Bangladesh is, if anyone is interested to adopt the Hufaz scheme of studies, we'll be more than happy to share it with you. We can create an affiliation. We can basically announce that this institute is affiliated with Al Beirut Hufaz system. Those who are interested to establish a Kulliyatul Sharia model, yes, we are open to offer that. Anyone who wants to establish an institution and he wants to cater and address graduates who are interested in doing Alamiya course, we'll help them out. Now you need to learn the process, you need to adopt the SOPs, you need to learn and get hold of experts who can teach according to that methodology. That is on your part. The support, we're ready to give that. We're ready to monitor. We're ready to create an affiliation. That is an open offer. And we think that what we have experienced, if anyone else wants to benefit out of it, the floor is open.
هنا مروا وكانوا قدوة